In this video, we're going to take a first look at the Boeing 777 Cdu by Flight Deck Solutions. We'll do a full unboxing and then walk through installing it step by step into the sim for use with the PMDG 777 inside of prepared version 4. Don't forget to hit that like button along the way. Also, if you like this kind of content, make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out on the next installments. Alright, let's get into it.
As always, good knife. Now, I got rid of the packing slip just to get it out of the way. I am definitely delayed in getting into this. I have had this since the beginning of April. We are now in June. Let's just say with all the other videos and things I was trying to do, I didn't play with it yet. And it's terrible because I spent so much time saving up for this, prepared, wanting it so badly, but I guess with the other things I was doing, life always keeps us busy. Alright, so what all do we have? We have a power adapter. So this uses 12 volts, 1.5 amps. So we'll use the power adapter at first, but we'll end up tying it into the sim's built-in power system. Of course, they include every possible type. We're going to need the North American. Clicks in place, so that's ready to go. Alright. FDS Cdu links. So, techworks.ca, get download, setup of the FDS Cdu version 3.0.14. Flight Deck Solutions, PCU, Pload, FDS Pro MX Cdu manual. So there's the manual, and there is where I go to get, I guess, the software. The Pro MX series control display, so FDS Boeing 777 Pro MX Cdu. Awesome. What's next? Ooh. So far, I like how it's packed. Wow. There you go. That is what you get in the box. So you do have to supply your own USB type B, so A to B, and your own VGA cable. Now this is the only thing to me that's a little bit of a downside, is the fact that it's VGA at this time. There's plenty of other models out there that do have an HDMI connector, which would be a lot better. Graphics cards are HDMI and or DisplayPort. Now yes, you can get a DisplayPort to VGA dongle, but again, you're sending a VGA signal around as opposed to a digital signal. So analog versus digital, I'm sure it won't be that big of a deal. Power port, and then some adjustment buttons. So picture power, and then some adjustments. Some nice, beautiful rubber feet. So it sits on a nice angle. Great, obviously metal construction. And then it does have the Cdu rails. I never pronounce it correctly. But the proper pins that would go into a proper rail system. I mean, buttons feel like any normal clicky button. It's been a while since I touched a real one, even though it wasn't a Boeing one, it was an Embraer one, so I wouldn't know. But I mean, this thing feels great. Screen protector, line select keys. Yeah, so looking at it, beautiful looking device. Definitely worth the money. And why do I say definitely worth the money in the first appearances? Well, the reason for saying that is I tried to build one of my own. I bought a kit which came with all of the buttons, and you had to solder everything. So I had to solder all the buttons in. You had to mount all these controllers. You had to mount the display. You had to build your own power cables. So these are for the LEDs, a 12 volt, and then a separate 5 volt as well. So I had to build those. I had to paint the buttons, so some of it ends up with a little bit of not the greatest. And at the end of the day, by the time you pay for the display, though I will say HDMI, that really was nice. Though I would have to power this, power these two. You know, at the end of the day, after shipping everything, this is roughly half the price once you factor in everything. I use their boards that they recommend, and they have some Pascal, Object Pascal or something, but they don't give you actual software which will interact with anything. So you have to write your own software, and it just got to the point where I was fed up. The buttons were recessed. These buttons are right up to the surface like they should be. There's no comparison. Obviously the buttons are very similar. Again, they're backlit, so they're probably under the hood a similar clicky. These are physically a little bit larger than these. Built, manufactured, home built. Definitely go with the manufactured. Now that we are getting set up, remember that you have a USB Type B cable, the VGA cable, and the power cable to plug in. Note, when you do this, it may install some drivers and give you some notifications, but it's going to not be seen. Your screen is not going to pick it up. You're literally going to think that you have a dead unit. And then you're going to go and you're going to send an email to the FDS team where you're going to then be told, did you read the manual? And you're going to say, no, I read the manual. I totally read the manual, but you're going to have missed something. So hopefully you don't get an RTFM situation like I did. All right, moving on. Go to the website, click on Web Store. Go to the 777 or whichever one you bought. Hop on in and scroll down. You'll find a link to the user manual here. Go ahead and click on that link and it'll open another tab with the user manual. Now, there was a piece of paper that came along with the unit. We saw that when we were opening the box. Note, it doesn't have the note on it that we're about to just talk about. I really wish it was on there, because then I wouldn't be as embarrassed for not reading the manual through before trying to just get it up and running. As you see, you come down to the table of contents, product information, compatibility, features, and then boom, software installation. What do you think I did? I jumped straight to page 7. I shouldn't have. I should have scrolled through, saw the prettiness. Yes, this is the unit I bought. I am pretty happy about it. Look at that bad boy, nice and gray. And then on page 5, you will find a note highlighted in yellow that the Cdu does not function unless you have installed the FDS Cdu controller software or available avionics. Dough. Scrolling down, the first link takes us and the current software with a direct link, but we could go to the website, and this is also on that piece of paper. It tells us where to go to get that download. So yes, you could type it in. However, it's probably a whole lot easier to instead use this to get the link. I'm going to right click, open in new tab, add 3.15, and I'm going to install it here. Now I've already installed it and ran the installer. I did go to the website first, and I can verify that at the time of this video, which is June of 2019, it is still version 3.1.5. Once you've installed it, you're going to see
an icon like this on your desktop. When you're in the software, it'll open up and you want to scroll down and go to Controller Test Module. You want to click on Assignment, and we want to make it CDU1. Now we're going to click Save, and boom, it launches into test representation. Click on LCD, click on backlighting, and now all of a sudden you're going to see your CDU come to life. So now the screen's working. You can test all of the LEDs. And everything is on. And every time you click a button, you will see green light up. Excellent. So we can go ahead and hit reset. Now, one thing that I did wrong was this was still running in the background when I tried to move on to the next steps. But let's read the manual and continue. So we did the installation, we ran the CDU, we did control test module, we assigned it to CDU1, and we were able to test the unit and follow the instructions all the way through, and we had a nice working unit. You'll notice at this point, no more information is given, and instead you're instructed to install the appropriate software for what you're doing. In our case, we are using the PMDG 777. So we scroll down to page 25, and there is a link. So we're going to click here, open a new tab, and again, FDS PMDG controller version 2. And we're going to save that, and then you're going to run it and install it. Now, once it is installed, you will have an icon that looks like this. Now, I ran it right away. So it does give you a manual, and you can open that manual and you'll scroll down, follow compatibility, the installation steps for installing it, where did the installer go, it'll enable the broadcast 1 in the SDK. So this is important. Now, I already had this enabled. So in my options INI, I already have enable broadcast 1 because I was using it with other products. You'll notice I also have the CDU broadcasts. These are not required. This sends the actual data of the CDU out of the SIM. This gets used by iPad-based CDUs. Now, since we are using a screen attached to the main simulator, we will instead be able to use just the data broadcast. So you're going to go to your Lockheed Martin folder, your PMDG, PMDG 777X, 777X, options INI. That will be done. Excellent. Next up, connecting the hardware. We did all that. Refer to the controllers, usually run on the flight sim computer, providing the link between the hardware and the software. Alternatively, the PMDG controller may be run on a remote computer. Very cool. Now, at this point, I actually don't know if I really needed to install the test app or not. Maybe this would have worked with or without installing the test app. I don't know. However, if you run this at this point like it says to do, which I did, initializing the device, finalizing, entering program mode, CDU, clicked on the button, it sees a button, O3A, and you'll notice some weird stuff takes place. Now, this did a little bit better than when I last ran it. So what I find you really need to do is come up here, go into the configuration, let's go ahead, let's unassign this. Go ahead and make it whatever you want. Click save, right? Close it off, get rid of it. Now make sure to go to your system tray and make sure to exit so that you fully exit it out of the CDU software, out of the CDU controller. Now that it's gone, just launch that FDS controller. Excellent, it saw it, finalizing. So now it lights up and everything is good again. Now it looks proper. So now we can go into enable programming mode. Now the serial and all the information shows up a lot better. It knows it's there and currently knows I'm connected to Prepared 3D with SimConnect 4.4. Yay. And flight sim detected, PMDG aircraft detected. Excellent. Let's go into our CDU assignments. So normally what you would do is you'd press a button and that would bring up the last board detected. We only have the one, so we're safe. And I'm going to assign that as the captain CDU, and I'm going to click save. Now I'm done. I could leave this in full mode. What I'll do is we'll just go back to kind of basic mode, and we can go ahead and minimize that, or don't close it, but minimize it. If you close it, well, it's going to go, actually, the close will instantly kill it and it will shut down. So again, we're going to double click on it to launch it. It's launched, it's enabled, it's configuring, and this is what it'll do now going forward each time. So with all that information and everything connecting, everything is great. And when we look at it, all the information that was needed is there. So we're going to go ahead and we'll minimize it to the system tray. So scrolling along, we can see that it's just giving us the information, very thorough in explaining all the information and what it does, the information that we saw here. Great document, great manual. Hence RTFM. Don't skip anything like I did and you'll be fine. Tells you to start the sim manually, how to launch it, how to create a batch file if you want to launch it as well. Now, you need to edit the PMDG file. In my case, I did edit this before launching the sim. If you edit this after launching the sim, you will have to reload the aircraft to make sure it relaunches. So for this, you're going to go into your Sim Objects, Airplanes, PMDG 777-200 LR panel. Whether you have the 300 or the freighter, it won't matter because they all reference the 200 panel. That way they use one set. So in my case, Lockheed Martin, Sim Objects, Airplanes, 777-200 panel, panel.config. Opened it up in Notepad++. And we scroll down till we find CDU left. Now, I took this, the original one, I copied it, right? I pasted it, and then I put the 2 slashes in front. So the purpose for that is the slashes will comment it out, and then I would be editing the one that I want to modify, but keeping a backup of the exact numbers. So here you'll see it shows an example, and when you get here, insert these numbers. So don't pay attention to any of this stuff here. Look at these numbers. These are the numbers to use. So we used the PMDG, we went 0, so we changed it to -90, -100, 570, and 1580. Boom, done. Those are the numbers that we had to edit. Everything else stays the same. Now you go ahead after saving that and fire up your sim. Into the simulator, it's fired up. We are loaded in the PMDG. We completed all of that, of course. So this is the page that we would be on next. So now that we are loaded up into the PMDG, we want to click on the screen to pop it out. You'll notice that it's going to give you 2 ways to do it. You can drag corners if you know what you're doing. I find it easy to find the corner and drag it. Doesn't bother me much. But if you don't, you can use the ability to pop out into window mode. So hit Alt-Enter. So you come out of window mode, or you can go up to your views and come out of window mode. Once you're out, that way you get a border. It's easier to grab a hold of. But as you'll see here, not hard. So looking down, I can see it. If you hover over the screen, you're going to see, and just for giggles, this is how you'll see yours, but you'll click on this guy and it's going to pop out. Now, like I said, you can hit Alt-Enter, but I'm just going to come here and I'm going to click on, so right click and undock window. Now that it's undocked, we simply drag it off and over and onto our CDU. Now in my case, since I had already sized it, it was perfect. If you don't have it perfect, you just grab onto the corners and slide it up to maximize the corner. But this is where that Alt-Enter can help you. If you press Alt-Enter, you'll come out of window mode or out into window mode, and in Prepared 3D, you can click on the PMDG CDU. There'll be a maximize box. In FSX, they don't offer that, so you still have to grab the corner. It's just a lot easier to see the corner because you've got the window bezel. But in P3D, it's fantastic. You hit that square button, it'll maximize to the screen. You hit Alt-Enter, and you're right back in. Now, I have two other screens that I use. Normally a GTN 750, which in a PMDG I don't need, and a 530. Again, in the PMDG, we're in an airliner. We don't need this. Well, with those, I follow the exact same approach. I undock these, and I pop them into my external monitors. So those were already in an undocked view. So I can redock them, and every time now that I undock them, they pop out. At this point, I saved this as the kind of beginning point for a video, or for any play really. But I go ahead and I hit the semicolon on the keyboard, and I save this scenario. That way the windows are also saved as undocked and popped out, so less stuff to have to deal with when I go to use it. All right, so now that we've done that and we followed those messages, you can see we have completed the manuals. We are now up and running. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. Let's hop in here. I'm going to get rid of, by holding Alt, get rid of my top bar. And now when we look at it, we can see all of the information and all of the data. Everything is lined up nicely. And the buttons really do feel good, right? So originally, you're going to probably be at a knit. You would start off at your position, and you're going to go in and you're going to set your inertial position. Easy to grab a GPS waypoint, or if you're at a gate, enter the airport and the gate. We've got our ident, so we can see our ident. So obviously that's where you'd start. You'd go to position and knit. You'd enter the position. You would then move on to your origin and your destination. So we would enter CYOW, press our line select key, and in it goes. Next up, we would enter the destination of where we're going to go, and we will go as CYYZ for the sake of it, and get our destination in. And then at this point, we'd of course want to activate it. Oh, so easy. The LED comes on for execute, and we need to execute that. So now we're ready to enter some more of our data. But we'll save that for next time. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. and come along with us on the next one. We're going to do a flight from Ottawa to Toronto. Thanks for watching.